Down on the sun-drenched coasts of Spain, you'll find some absolutely beautiful places. But you'll also find stories, and some of those stories are more than just local folklore. Today, we're diving into a legend that really blurs that line between a spooky tale and a terrifying reality. The legend of the Corpse Bride. I mean, it's a fun question to think about, right? What happens when the ghost story turns out to be real? For most of us, it's just a fantasy. But for one young student, what started as a simple research trip turned into him walking straight into a story he really should have left alone. So let's set the scene. Our story kicks off in a small coastal town in Spain. A place that looks absolutely perfect on the surface, but it's got a dark secret hiding right underneath. By day, the town of Celebrina is everything you'd hope for. It's like a postcard, historic, full of life. But when that sun goes down, something changes. A really creepy transformation happens. The streets just empty out, the air gets this deep, unnatural cold, and this heavy silence just blankets the whole town. See, the locals, they have this unspoken rule. You get home before dark. And this is where we meet our guy, Mateo. He's 19, an architecture student from Madrid. He's not there for the beaches. He's there for the history, the ancient buildings. He's a researcher, a guy who believes in logic, and he's about to step into a world that completely defies it. While he's checking out an old cemetery near the church, Mateo finds something odd. It's this old wedding arch, all broken and weathered, and it's standing over this one single patch of ground where the soil is just unnaturally dark. It's a weird little detail, one he kind of notes but then just shrugs off. That was a big mistake. So that night, back in his guest house, the strangeness of the town starts to creep into Mateo's world. And the haunting, well, it doesn't start with a big scream. It starts with a whisper. He's up late, working, when he hears it, this soft rustling sound like silk dragging over stone. He glances out his window and, for just a second, he sees a flash of white in the dark, the unmistakable shape of a woman in a long dress. He probably thinks, it's just someone out for a late walk. He blinks and poof, she's gone. The next night, you guessed it, the sound is back. But this time, it's closer. A chill that has no business being there just floods his room. And when he looks down onto the street, he sees actual physical evidence, footprints left in wet mud, which is impossible because it hadn't rained at all. Now, you'd think he'd lock the door and hide, right? But his curiosity, that researcher brain of his, it just takes over. He has to know where they lead, so he follows the trail, step by step, away from his room, and right back to the one place in town he should have stayed away from, that old cemetery. Okay, to really understand what Mateo is walking into, we need to go back in time. The old caretaker at the guest house, he sees how spooked Mateo is getting, and he finally spills the town's dark secret. He tells him a story from way back in 1889. A young woman, Isabella Romero, was about to be married. On her wedding night, she waited right there, at that same arch in the cemetery, for her groom, Javier. But Javier never showed up. He had betrayed her, run off with someone else. Isabella waited the entire night, and by morning, she was dead. Some say from the cold, but the legend says she died of a truly broken heart. The town buried her right there in the cemetery. But her spirit? It never left. They call her the Corpse Bride. And for over 100 years, people in town have claimed to see her ghost, in a white gown, standing under that arch, forever waiting. So, after hearing this story, Mateo is absolutely terrified. He knows what he saw now, but the legend he just learned about is about to become his own personal nightmare. That night, the footsteps don't just pass by his window. No, they come all the way up to his door, and they stop. A smell hits him, damp earth and rotting flowers. He sees a shadow block the light from under the door, and then he just watches in pure horror as the doorknob slowly, deliberately begins to turn. The door creaks open, but there's nothing there, just an empty hallway. He's completely shaken. Mateo bolts to the local church. After he explains everything that's been happening, the old priest gives him this grave look. He says, "The spirit has never been this aggressive." And then he asks one single chilling question that changes everything. Did you disturb her resting place? Did you take anything? And in that instant, a cold dread washes over Mateo. He remembers. that first day he visited the arch. Without even thinking about it, he picked up a few of the dried, brittle flowers from the ground and put them in his pocket, a little souvenir from his research. He'd brought a piece of her vigil home with him. And suddenly, all the pieces click together in the most horrifying way you can imagine. This spirit isn't just haunting the town anymore, it's haunting him. The priest's conclusion is absolutely terrifying. By taking the flowers, Mateo basically sent a signal. The spirit of Isabella doesn't see a student. No, she sees her groom, Javier, finally come back to her. The priest's warning couldn't be more urgent. You have to leave Celebrena tonight, right now, or she will never, ever let you go. Mateo races back to the guest house. He's frantically throwing his stuff into a bag when the weather just turns on a dime. The sky goes black, the power cuts out, plunging him into darkness. A massive storm breaks, lightning flashes, and for a split second, it lights up the whole room. And in that flash of light, she is there, in his room, standing right in front of him. What happens next is just a blur of absolute terror, and it's only recounted by the old caretaker, who heard the scream. The caretaker heard one single, blood-curdling scream tear through the sound of the storm. He ran to Mateo's room as fast as he could, but he was too late. The room was empty. The window was thrown wide open, and Mateo was just gone. It took hours for them to find him. His body was discovered back in the cemetery, lying directly under that broken wedding arch. He was covered in that same wet, dark mud from that cursed patch of ground. For the people in town, there was no mystery here. The conclusion was simple, and it was horrifying. And just like that, the legend of the corpse bride got a brand new, tragic chapter. The story wasn't just about a lonely spirit waiting for a groom who would never return. It was now a warning that sometimes she might just find a replacement. So it leaves us with this one final, really haunting question. Think about it. A small stone, a dried flower, some forgotten little relic. After hearing this story, you really have to wonder, if you found a token like that in a lonely place, would you dare to take it? Some things are just better left alone.